no heroes. No heroes. No heroes, baby.
Ultimate Cup today. We have, I believe, just over 80 players, so shouldn't be too long of a tournament, but still a good turnout. We're just getting the players set up here for round number 1, and it should be a fast one. This first matchup is going to be two very... one deck I think is very well represented. The other deck, it has seen some success in BT15, but it should be a good one.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, it's also like the last big tournament, as of what I know, for next week, offline regional. Mm-hmm. I think we had like a tournament in the middle of May in UK.
Yep.
But yeah, the game starts off pretty quickly with Royal Knights showcasing the new Magnamon.
Very good.
From the Evo Cup.
Very, very nice altar, and it's against Red Hybrid, so the clock is ticking. Royal Knights has to basically win before a certain point, because Red Hybrid is just going to keep swinging. They do not care. That security, there's no threats.
And Evoing into the Ukumon in the back and playing a Flamer out, finding, that was a close search. Just one target, but it's fine. Bottlenecking 2 Ukumon. It's a bit sad, but yeah.
Typically, you don't mind, because just with Red Hybrid, the deck already had a good matchup into Royal Knights before Uko, and it just means that, you only really need to resolve one Ukomon in Red Hybrid against Royal Knights to be, like, that far ahead.
That's true. But now the Magnamon got absorbed, so now I think the play cost is going to be reduced by 7, if I remember correctly. And okay.
Digimon Emperor.
That's something to note. I mean, they're on 2 memory, so they're not really losing the turn. But that Digimon Emperor is going to be a bit annoying.
Definitely.
But I like the tech choice.
Yeah, I think it has been picking up a little bit, the Digimon Emperor. Now, the Ukomon will mitigate the cost by 1, so it's only really getting taxed 1 memory. And for the first Red Hybrid turn, you don't super care about the memory, because realistically, the other action they were going to take is play a Takuya.
Yeah, that's true. But we're going to face another Magnamon insecurity. Ukomon draws 1, and I would assume Ukomon is going to stay on board to ensure that they don't lose automatically the turn if they race. Maybe they have a memory setter Takuya in the hand, so then it wouldn't matter. But playing out the
3-cost one.
The 3-cost one, exactly. So now I think these are all the Royal Knights that can be absorbed. So now we are on 8.
Here, the Royal Knights player has a few options. It's whether they want to play an advantage knight like Dynasmon, or we're going to see a removal one instead with the Jesmon taking out the Uko, making that memory, the memory taxing from the Digimon Emperor that much scarier.
I mean, yeah, the problem here is he perfectly put him to 1, so he cannot even raise the rookie. So in hindsight, keeping Uko on the board, it's not a mistake. It was the right play, but Jesmon was like a good answer to that.
It was very, very well timed. Now, I think if the Red Hybrid player had the choice to play out the memory setter Takuya, I would have preferred that over the 3-cost. The 3-cost does pass a little bit less, but it would have, given him more memory to work with. So now the Red Hybrid player is putting a bit of a tough choice. Personally, I would still raise the Flamon, because at worst, if it gets deleted, that's contributing the number of names in the trash for the Warp Takuya, and he needs to start pushing damage. The lower the security is, the better is for Red Hybrid, because they are also on a timer. If the Royal Knights player has the Omnimon, they just need a few more names, and it could be for game. Looks like we're going to see Graph Crush.
Yeah, he tapped on the rookie to signal playing out a Gravity Crush and going into the aggressive play, Evoing into Burning Greymon, being now a 10k, so a double breaker.
Yep.
And if he has Itemon, he's basically surviving any check in security, which is the preferred way of, doing stuff.
Royal Knights
Nah.
typically has a bigger security on average, just because so many of the Royal Knights are so big.
And there we see the item one. So that's an additional 4k boost. So now he's at around 16, 18.
This should beat everything. I think Examon is the biggest Royal Knight at 15k. Or
yeah, but like with the plus 2k from the Inherits, plus 2k from the Evo, plus 2k from Takuya, that's already plus 6k.
20.
And then no, they're on 18. They're on 18. So swing with 18k, 2 checks, and there's no ace card for level 7 as of now. So that is pretty safe. And I would assume there's gonna be an Emperor Greymon coming to deny the Jessamon being absorbed.
I quite like this. Puts a ton of pressure. Now they need to find a form of removal that doesn't delete, so a Jessamon won't quite cut it. And Ulforce, I believe the Red Hybrid player has too many sources for Ulforce to really clear it in one go. It might have to be a Gallantmon, perhaps. And at that point, you know, the Red Hybrid player gets another float from the Emperor Greymon into a Takuya.
But here's the thing, Gallantmon doesn't delete with his on play and when attacking. He needs to swing into him, which is but like a...
It has native rush, so that's always good.
Oh, okay.
So instead we're going to see a big pass here.
Yeah, we're going to play out Magdamon with the King Rosé effect for basically free, and then playing out Ulforce to strip the sources for each Royal Knight, I think. Blue Tamer. So I guess
strips 4.
And then it's gonna be a bye-bye to Emperor Greymon. Back to the end.
So now, as the Royal Knights player, you're put in a position where this is essentially his gamble turn, because he's hoping that both of those knights will make it back to him, and he would get an additional 1 cost reduction, but 6 memory is a lot for Red Hybrid to just set up. Here they could Evo over the Flamon to mitigate the Digimon Emperor. They can also play maybe a Takuya or 2. And 2 security for Red Hybrid is a threshold that I can kill very easily from. It just depends whether or not they have the setup. Which is, I think personally, I would have preferred if the Red Hybrid player would have chipped 1 early with the Ukomon, but I understand keeping it on the board for value is also quite good. Instead, we're going to see the Rays and getting taxed for 2.
I mean, there's not a lot of things you can do, because also Magnamon should be a blocker like every iteration of Magnamon. So you cannot even go for the cheeky swing. And the Royal Knights are stacking up to be a force to be working with. Oh, okay. Atomic Inferno. Putting on the... If you block me, then I guess I get free memory back.
This is a little bit of an interesting trap here, because the Flamon typically will not live the first check. So he's essentially just giving himself the 1 chip. Yeah, it dies to Dynas here. At least he draws 1. So it's not like he's missing out on too much.
But I think it's still good, because this contributes to the trash being filled with 5 hybrids. But I think as of right now, there should be only 4. No, actually, there should be 5. So there is the option to just hard play and Takuya and just try to kill one of the Royal Knights. And we're just gonna see 1 Agunimon, 2 Flamons, and an Emperor Greymon. I don't think you need to pick up the Emperor Greymon if you already have one in hand. So yeah, that's Agunimon.
It's probably an Aguni.
And I would assume that Agunimon is gonna come into play for 2.
Yeah, I think that plays quite strong. The BT7 Flamon into the Agunimon generates a ton of value. But instead we're going to hard play the Takuya, basically asking the Royal Knights player to clear the Flamon, which will play into the Takuya.
But here's the thing, you could have also just evoed into Agunimon and then tell him, okay, either he's gonna stick and I'm gonna check and then play out the Takuya anyways, or I'm just gonna, I'm gonna check with him, die in security, play out the Takuya, and remove whatever you played. But now with, I think, reduction of 10 costs, if I'm not mistaken, it should be 6 in the sources. Yeah, 10 costs, playing out the Royal Purge.
So Perch here
And-
loads Alpha, which Alpha is quite good in the matchup now. Aldemon can still, all of the, pretty much everything up to the Emperor can still attack, right? Because it's 10 cost or higher on the Alphamon.
All right. So then
And we're
playing
gonna
out
Crania.
a Craniamon. Oh, all right. That's a tough wall to break because Craniamon forcing Digimon to block, to attack, and being unaffected. It's tough.
So at this point, there is a Crania, Magna, an O-Force, and an Alpha. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4 unique names for Royal Knights. So the Red Hybrid player still has, on paper, another turn. But remember that Perch can take out one of the Magnamons and give it Rush. So the Red Hybrid player has to be careful here how much memory they pass. Otherwise, it could be an Omnimon coming down next turn. And that is why the Royal Knights player played out the Crania, because it's a guaranteed body that will make it back to them. Especially at 2 memory.
Yeah.
So I would not be surprised if the Royal Knights player just has the Omnimon for next turn, and they might actually take game 1. That Emperor put in a lot of work.
Now the question is, do you just? I mean, the Flamemon is gonna swing regardless, so there's like the option to Evo into a Gunimon, but no. All right, we're just gonna.
Looks like he's going to
If-
block. Maybe he's missing a second Takuya in hand. I personally, I would agree. I agree with you completely. I think evoing into the Agudimon would have given you the most bang for your buck in terms of generating you more advantage, keeping essentially the same amount of threats on the board while, filtering and potentially playing out another Takuya. But Red Hybrid is one of those decks that sometimes it just doesn't see its pieces, and Crimson Blaze.
Now that's big. That is the turn that they needed.
This very much so buys them a turn. This is what I was saying, where you can sort of track exactly where the Royal Knights player is up to, and you just have to gamble on, do they have the Omni?
I mean, now Omni doesn't do anything for them as of now because Omnimon does not play out all the other Royal Knights. Perch does not, play out something. So
This is pretty much a complete turn skip in terms of for Royal Knights. They can use Yggdrasil to reduce the play cost. And it looks like we're going to see a sister. I quite like the sister.
But the problem is, if they pass them onto more than 2 memory, Ukumon can just go, gain 1 memory back, and swing. Actually, no, they're still missing 1 memory.
They still haven't used the Yggdrasil play cost reduction.
True. And I think it should be on 12. Because before it was reduced to 11, and now it should be reducing to 12.
And instead we're going to see the Alpha. Just to deny the little... Alphamon denies big swings. So no Emperor Greymon here.
I see. But now there's no play cost reduction anymore.
Yep. So passing turn is going to be... it could just be an open pass, I think. Open passing is pretty good. We could see an Omeka.
But open passing would not be enough. That's the problem.
Yep.
As of now, if you open pass, you pass the turn to 3. Ukumon raises. He will gain 1 memory.
Yep.
And Emperor taxes him. I don't know about the exact wording of both cards, but the net gain is going to be at 2.
Yes.
And then,
open pass.
That's that.
And we know he has the Aguni in hand, so this should be, unless there's a security bomb of some kind for Royal Knights, this should be game 1 for Red Hybrid.
It should be. Unless, wait, is there a Black Ace that is level 7 yet? No, right?
We don't have any black level 7 aces just yet. I think the only black ace off the top of my head is War Greymon from the starter deck.
No, we have War Greymon, we have Diaboromon Ace.
Oh, yes,
Diaboromon and we have Mega Gaugomon Ace. That is
also true.
But I'm the Alphamon effect is just for 10 cost or higher.
Yes, 10 cost or higher. So We didn't see a Congo. Sometimes Royal Knights players also play Congo.
That sometimes comes up, but it was with the Marcos meta. But I get reminded by chat that since Yggdrasil is on the field, you cannot evolve anyway, so Ace is not even a problem.
Yep.
So I guess
So-
the only thing that that highway player needs to do is to
just
race,
swing.
and he loses one memory, he hatches and gains one memory. He goes in and swings into security,
No blockers, just swing.
and I think that should be game. Plus, he's also gonna draw off the Koromon unless it's gonna be like Odin's Breath. So it's gonna be a lot Leopardmon. He draws one. And yeah, it also goes to the trash. Evos into
Burning
the
Greymon.
Burning Greymon, and yeah, goes for security.
Yep.
Right.
Easy game one.
That is quick game one of forward hybrid. Didn't even lose the security, which it's not common. Royal Knights doesn't attack unless it's like Galamon.
Yep. Gallant,
But in that-
Sisters, Omeka.
But that could sometimes be a problem with Royal Knight against Red Hybrid in general, because if they for Red Hybrid in general, because if they don't see the security, these are 5 cards that are not contributing to the game whatsoever. So if like 5 of your tamers are there, that's tough.
Very, very tough. But again, I think the game is more for Royal Knights to lose than it is for Red Hybrid to win. Red Hybrid has a favorable matchup. It's
that's
pretty much up to the Royal Knights player to just juggle their blockers. If they can almost put out a blocker every single turn, they are in a decent position as long as some of their cards make it back to them. The Digimon Emperor, great at one, but you really need that second one to put the deck far behind. To not let him even swing with the Ukos. Very fortunate that the Red Hybrid players saw 2 Ukos after bot decking 2 more.
That's true. But I think and Digimon Emperor is not as common in Royal Knights as it was. I never seen it before past BT15. But I guess with the current meta of being you promote your weenies and go out and swing, I can see that.
Yeah, very much so. It's mostly for, those fast matchups like the Armors, the Red Hybrids, the Numemons. It's sort of like a card that you can play out early. Decent in security as well. Like it's one of the few cards that does help out Royal Knights from security. And like I said, great in multiples if you see 2 Digimon Emperors, especially with the Jessmon as well. I don't know if he taps the Digimon Emperor to draw that extra card.
If you're level 4 or higher dice. I mean, I don't
level 5 or lower, I believe.
Oh.
So it does help them see, the Omnis a little bit more, as well as just the rest of the Royal Knights. Because sometimes with Royal Knights, the issue is that the deck doesn't have the most amount of draw power. And so sometimes they're stuck on just playing sort of like the same Knights over and over again.
Yeah, but with so many, with the BT13 Magnumon that draws you when he leaves the field or plays the Vmon out, but there's no Vmons in this deck. Or I think it was Loud Nightmon or Dennismon is one of the 2 that searches the top 4 cards.
Yes.
We're gonna go back into. Wait, is that a repeat of the first game?
Yeah, pretty much.
Catching Yggdrasil, getting a Magnumon.
This is as good as it gets.
It's
for
true,
Royal
it's true,
Knights.
it's true. But come to think of, did they even get new cards in BT16 in general?
Royal Knights?
Yes.
Not off of the top of my head, no. I don't think it's a deck that got direct support, really.
Yeah. I mean, they got the ST13, not ST13, ST17 Magnumon. Besides that, that's not a lot. But
that was
we're gonna
a pretty big buff for the deck.
Oh.
So we're going to see a Goonie and Flaymon in the back.
Greymon.
So here, basically, this confirms that his hand has at least 2 Tamers that he wants to play out for free. And it's also a nice choke at 1.
I mean,
Against-
if they find the Magnamon, then they just pass back to the memory to 1. But
the Yggdrasil here would increase reduce the play cost.
but we have the Digimon Emperor back
However,
at it.
This time the Digimon Emperor won't be doing nearly as much because we have the Burning Greymon in the back.
That's true. That's true.
So all the red hybrid player has to do is swing a security, and, if it crashes into something that's just bigger than 6k, they're perfectly happy with here. They will draw 1 and potentially play out 2 tamers. That is a lot of aggression. Unfortunately, Mecha comes out, and now this doesn't look nearly as good.
But I mean, they're on 2 memory. They can just hard play a Takuya, or they're just hard playing a Flamemon to find more Takuyas. Let's see. 2 Burning Greymons, a Gunimon, and Ukumon. Well, I guess Burning Greymon from BT7 is not hitting anything soon on the board, so...
Now, typically you don't want to kill the Omechas and the Sistermons. It's fine to shoot the Sistermons, but
I mean,
it's relatively low value.
Yeah. I read I would take a Digimon that has an inherit effect than, just a beat stick. But with 1 memory, there's not a lot that can come up for them. I mean, the Jesmon would be, in terms of clearing the board, really good. But spawning 2 Takuyas that can swing the turn they're coming down, I'm not certain if you really want to do that. And there we have Lord Nightmon.
So Lord Knight here. I think Lord Knight needs other Royal Knights on the board to apply its sort of pseudo Ice Wall effect, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think Lord Nightmon needs another Royal Knight to be played to remove all of the force. So there's that. But now, with a big stack, if you really want to, you can just swing first with Flamemon, then swing with Burning Greymon, take the extra draw. But you can also sequence it in the way that...
The only downside of swinging the Flamemon potentially is the starter deck Magnamon.
True. That Digivolve. Oh,
and the
my
Purge.
lord.
This Burning Greymon just simply does not want to die.
See, I told you, just swing with Flamemon first and then swing
That would have
the other one second. I would bet that this Flamemon is gonna die.
So we're going to see Flamemon in the back. I would not be surprised if he evils over the Flamemon again, just to sort of mitigate the Digimon Emperor. Even if he double evolves like into both level 4s, it's not the worst. He's burning through some of his targets in terms of like being able to evolve to Kuyas, but at least he's passing a little bit less. And the Royal Knights player, realistically, the Purge here isn't doing a ton. At most they can do is play out the Magna, maybe potentially clear a body, and then get that card back from the float.
So I'm seeing here right now, by FSCS, it's 1 memory loss for every Royal Knight
on the field.
That is on the field. However,
there's no, it's other Royal Knights. So, gain 1 memory for each of your Royal Knights. Yes, so I think Lord Knight would have taken 1 memory here. Because it's Digimon, your Digimon with Royal Knight trait, not your other.
Yeah, I think so. So she should lose 1 memory. So just 1 second.
Oh, I think it did. It's somebody in chat. I think they're saying that it did.
They did resolve the 1 memory?
I believe so. So the game state is preserved here.
Alright,
and
in that case.
We see the hero's dad as a tamer. I don't know his name off the top of my head, so I'm going to quickly look up RBO1. I believe that's where that tamer is. And this is sort of like another tech that Royal Knights players have been using. Hokuto Amano Okawa. So if the opponent has 3 or more tamers, gain a memory. And when the opponent plays a Digimon, you suspend to gain a memory. If that Digimon is level 4 or higher, draw 1 if it's level 3. So decent against decks that want to hard slam, just to either gain that memory or draw that 1 card. Sort of helps. Decent. It's also a relatively low pass, only costing 2. It generates value over time.
Yeah. I mean, especially in a deck like Red Hybrid that, sometimes just want to hard play their tamers and prepare for that one big turn. But I see why the Purge of the Royal Knights is gonna
play out the Dynasty full clear, but it does play out some Takuya, so he's sort of getting rid of bodies on the board, but not so at the same time. Instead, we're going to see the Magna, which I don't hate. I think Magnamon is pretty good.
I mean, he's a blocker, but he is swinging into security or into the Burning Greymon.
Maybe he's calling out the bluff that the Royal Knights player, the Red Hybrid player, doesn't actually have that many Takuyas in hand. But it looks like he tapped the stack twice. So we'll see at least 1 Takuya coming down. So Mem Setter, 2 Mem Setters.
Well, that's
less than ideal.
Yeah, it's not even close to ideal. I guess it's better than to spawn 2 BT7 Takuyas. However, with this setup, if they have 2 Burning Greymons from BT12, they can just swing, gain memory, and then just swing with whatever it's left.
Yep, they don't even have to raise here. Because right now, there's potentially 4 damage on the board from Red Hybrid, 2 security from Royal Knights. So unless the Royal Knights player has another trick up their sleeve, looks like it's going to be curtains here for them. Going to play out the second Magna using Yggdrasil's Reduction, followed by a Sistermon. Sistermon Blanc here does pitch 1 to draw 2, but its protection for decoy only applies to red-black Digimon. So Magnamon being yellow and blue, it's not like the Sistermon can protect the Magnamons from, say, for example, an Emperor Greymon Pop. But yeah, from this position, the Red Hybrid player is extremely far ahead. We have the God stack in the back, the BT7 Flamon plus the Aguni to flow into more advantage.
That's a lot.
This is a lot of damage.
Is there like an easy way to remove the blocker? But because right now I'm seeing 4 potential checks.
Yep.
And which, 1 can be blocked, the other 2 cannot. And I would assume the first one is gonna be let go by whatever he swings, unless it's a Takuya. So he's gonna swing with Agunimon.
I don't hate that. I think that's relatively good here. Gives him value no matter what, even if the Magnamon blocks, the Aguni dies, and you get to develop more advantage. But if it lives, then it just it's an extra damage.
It's true. But
I think playing out so many tamers for the Royal Knights player put him a little bit far behind in terms of developing his Yggdrasil to load it up with Knights, but it's not like you have a ton of options against Red Hybrid. Instead, we're going to take a check. Leopardmon into security. That is way bigger than the Agunimon. And we'll draw 1, play out our Flamon. Usually they tend to play the Flamon first, if they don't have a Takuya, but if they have the Takuya, they'll play that out first.
So they play out the BT7 Takuya, playing another Flamon.
Yep.
And I guess they're passing on they're tapping it. So they're gonna be
pitch 1, draw 2.
Oh, okay. I mean, yeah, you don't need Idamon for right now.
No. Also sets up the trash.
The
So-
problem here is if Royal Knights, like they cannot block the Flamon, even if they really want to. So the next check is gonna go through anyways, and then if there's gonna be a Gravity Crush revealed, then the game is over either way.
Mhm. This is very much like a checkmate situation here from Red Hybrid. You know, being an Ultima Cup with Red Hybrid pricing, I'm expecting a decent amount of Red Hybrid players. The deck, you know, it's a deck that has stood against the test of time. It has been pretty much very good since it came out. Very reliable, able to adapt in its tech choices. We've seen the deck sort of evolve over time, and you know, it's not uncommon for you to at your first tournament play against Red Hybrid.
Yeah, and we're seeing now the Atomic Inferno, so this is definitely a lose-lose situation. Either way, if you block,
So you
you're
swing the
gonna
flame
lose
on
frame
first.
memory. No, it's not even. You don't need. Oh wow.
Yeah,
Okay,
this is just
okay.
him, just you know,
That
committing
is
everything.
that is just him telling, okay, I'm good to go.
Yeah, block. Here the Takuya will gain 2 additional memory. He could have also done in such a way if he swings the Flymon, it's more likely to not get blocked, and then you know, the Burning Greymon would have to get blocked to plus him the memory even more. But at this point, the Red Hybrid player is just so far ahead that it doesn't really matter here. They can swing the Flymon unless he's somehow missing a hybrid.
That would be unfortunate.
That would be very unfortunate. But if he's committing the Gravity Crush, I would assume that he at least has all his options. Yeah, block. Very easy. And then a Goonie for game.
Yeah. So that is gonna be a 2-0 sweep by Red Hybrid. I mean, to be expected, but nevertheless, I was pretty happy to see Royal Knights showcasing what they could do. It's just unfortunate that they need to face one of the fastest decks currently in the meta.
Yeah,
Like, it's
very,
tough.
very unfortunate. It's one of those, like the Royal Knights, they never really had a good matchup into Red Hybrid. Even Blue Flare at the time, back in the BT13 days. And Numemon, they can definitely put in some work, but it's not always guaranteed. But against anything that's remotely slower, then Royal Knights is decently positioned. So hopefully the Royal Knights player still gets a decent run.
Yeah. I mean, with one loss, you are still fine to do good things in the tournament. Like, you can easily top to the top. I mean, you are only 80 people, so if you win a few rounds, you get that Burning Greymon secure, which is pretty good.
Very, very good.
And yeah, so this was the first game. I hope we're gonna have a lot more good games to see. Personally, I would be happy to see anything besides Mirage Gargomon, but that's just me. I think it's gonna be prevalent enough next week in Birmingham. But if correct me if I'm wrong, we have like a few minutes until the next game is gonna start, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
So before we get to the next game, I just want to quickly mention, if you joined later on the stream and you want to rewatch the VODs and see our beautiful commentary, you can find this VOD in, like, for each round on YouTube on the noHEROES channel. It is noHEROES TCG on YouTube, and also you can also follow us on Instagram. But I would assume it is also down below. So if you don't find it, I shall be posting a link. So yeah. With that said, do you want to say anything else, B?
I just want to go to the next game. I want to see what else people brought. You know, we know that people are going to bring the red hybrids, the mirages, the yellow vaccines, but I want to see what can make it to the top. I want to know what that unknown hero brought today. You know?
Yeah, you know what would be my hero? I think I didn't see it today, but if somebody's gonna play Blue Flare, with all, I'm just saying, you know, maybe I'm speaking nonsense, but I'm just saying Blue Flare against Devas, Numemons, you know, Mirage Gargomon doesn't really care. It can, you know, win. It can also just brick, but That's life. That's life. So yeah,
Alright.
we're gonna have a quick break, and then we're gonna be back soon. So don't go anywhere.